Well, hello, my favorite people. How is everybody? Can you guys hear me? I'm just saying, guys, hey, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else who is listening, everyone in between, everyone, welcome. Say hello and comment if you can see me, hear me, and of course, type where you're watching from, what country, and what time is over there. And of course, you can add if you like, trust and love, or just love and trust Zelensky, Putin, or Biden. That would be a nice little poll. You could say, I'm watching from this country, this time of day or night. And you could say, I trust Putin, or I trust Biden, or I trust Zelensky, or you could interchange it for the word love. Who knows? There could be some admirers of Zelensky and Biden out there, and who knows, maybe even Putin. So everybody's saying hello from Germany. We got Michael. Oh, we're going to be talking about Germany. You guys did a great job with the tank there in Berlin. I have seen it. Excellent. Hello from New Zealand, Eliana. Welcome, Eliana Dashkova. Daskalova. I'm sorry, I need my glasses, you guys. Everybody is happy to see me. I see we have Australia. Did I miss my Australia? Hello, George. How are you, mate? Should I say how are you, mate, right? Love my Australian guys. Here we go. I love Russia, says George. Excellent. Well, everybody get some instructions. Like I said, type the country you're watching from, what time of day, and a quick poll. Do you trust Putin, Biden, or Zelensky? You could say, do you love Putin, Biden, or Zelensky, if that makes it a little more fun. We have California, 2 o'clock p.m. Isaac, tell us where you're watching from. George says, Russia is a strong country in the world. Hello, says William. Hello, good people. Excellent. Isaac says he trusts Putin. Did I miss? Hitch Seban says, hi from Morocco. Bulgaria here. Welcome, Daniel. Love it. Bulgaria in the house. We have Al. Hi, watching from Austria. I love Putin. Excellent. Keep it going, guys. Anybody who joins us, we're doing a little quiz, a little poll. We are typing, everyone who is watching me out there, from what country you're typing from, what country you're watching from, a time of day, and whether you trust Biden, Putin, or Zelensky, or you could even say if you love Putin or Zelensky or Biden. I think we will have a little fun this way, trying to wake everybody up, right? How is your boring Sunday? Hello, my dear Elena Olki for Congress. I'm watching from France and I like President Putin, says Latina. Excellent. I'm from Karachi, Pakistan, says Ufsir. And we have William says Bartlesville, Oklahoma for the moment, Earth. Excellent. Did I miss anybody? Ufsir says, I trust neither three of them. I'll go whosoever goes for immediate ceasefire and peace. Good point. Iliana says she trusts Putin. And we have Bullion Ben says, Zelensky is a joke. It's pretty cute how you typed Zelensky. That was cute. Okay, we have some more hellos. Colorado. Hello from Australia. Colorado. Hello, Ida from Spain. Evan said 100% trust Putin. Everybody there, read and type me some comments. Isaac says home from my phone. We're talking about what country everybody is watching. I'm going to get started, guys, in 1 second. Just finish saying hellos from what country you are typing from. Shekvir says, from Russia, I stand with Russia, and he trusts Putin. Excellent. Everybody has an opinion. I love it. Greetings from Seattle, says Raphael. Definitely, I like Russian values, my Russian wife, and I say hello to everyone. Oh, that's wonderful. We have Panta says two C's. Did not catch that. We have, who we get? Evans, Italy. From Italy, we have Italy in the house, and Italy trusts Putin. Ooh la la. Okay, guys, I think our poll goes in favor of Mr. Putin here. This is interesting. So nobody said Biden so far. Jeremiah Jones, Michigan. Yes, I think I know Jeremiah Jones, my dear friend. I love you. Big hugs. Guys, everybody type whether you are watching from what country, what time of the day there, and whether you trust Biden, Putin, or Zelensky. Type your opinions here in the comments, and I'll play them as I go along with the stream. Everybody's welcome. Everybody says, leader of Ukraine, says Isaac, has mentions in France and Miami, Florida. We have Algeria in the house. Welcome, says Abdo Flo. Viva Putin, says somebody here. You guys doing a great job typing comments. I have a hard time keeping up. Rogelio says, Viva Putin. Oh my gosh, I get this swarmed by Putin fans. Putin is my hero from Germany, says David West. We have hello from Mexico. Rogelio says, hello there. We got the Putin, the hero from Germany. Anybody there for Biden? I mean, anybody is watching from United States, people? Well, I am watching from United States, and I definitely do not trust Biden. Everybody type where you're watching from and whether you like or love, or whether you trust Biden, Zelensky, or Putin with your comments. William says, boo the Biden and Trump as well. Oi, somebody is there like a nihilist. Nobody is good enough, says William. Isaac says, Biden has financial interests in Ukraine. Bill says, Rocky Mountains. Putin, trust Putin. Welcome, Rocky Mountains. I love it. Wow, Algeria, says Tom Casey. Yes, Tom, you are watching, I think, from United States, right? But we have wonderful, my stream friends from across the globe, across the entire world. Imagine this. I love you all, guys. Keep typing. I'm going to get started. Tom says, I might not go so far as say hero, but I am in Putin's side in conflict. Putin, the great Botswana, welcome Botswana. So, but Botswana trusts Putin. Anybody out there trusts Biden or Zelensky? So far, those two guys have zero trust on our stream. Everybody so far said Putin. That's who they trust. From Australia, says Raywin, Bruce, from Australia, love Russia, love Putin. William Garrison says, we figured out what happened and it is not good, but we know now and we can fix this. Talking about Ukraine, right, William? Understand. Botswana, yes, we got it, Tom Casey. Hi from Sweden, says Max. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Let me see. I tell you, go on. All the Arab world is with you. Oh my gosh. Are we talking about Putin or are we talking about me? I mean, I'll take it for me, right? Guys, keep typing. Welcome everybody. I trust Biden is demented, says Daniel Grancharov. Very smart. He crafted the sentence to say, I trust Biden. So, you know, Biden almost gets a point, but he really quite doesn't, right, Daniel? This is very interesting. William says they could replace Putin and you would never know it except for what it's been. While talking about body doubles, did you guys see the video I posted on my Facebook thingy? with the like a body double of Zelensky in Poland. Biden is walking up the steps with Zelensky, and guess who pops out from the corner of the inside that interior room where they were, corridor? The guy who looks just like Zelensky. That was very, very strange. Of course, Zelensky keeps saying that Putin may be dead, and we don't know if this is a real Putin or Putin has body doubles. I'm thinking, okay, Zelensky, so Putin has body doubles, and what about you? Let's meet some of your body doubles, right? Well, that guy looked pretty much like a doppelganger. What is a doppelganger or something? Like a double of Zelensky. Maybe a slightly different hairline, but yeah. So watch that video on my Facebook, guys. It would be interesting. Let me see. Carl says, I am echoing. Okay, guys, am I echoing? Really? Oh, no. Let me see. If I'm echoing, let me know. I better not echo. David says, Putin is the real, Zelensky is a puppet. So we have Zelensky being a puppet and Putin is being real. Sounds like a plan, David. I think you are on to something there. Because obviously here we have an agreement. Jeanette says, hey there, puppet master Biden. Yeah, so we have an opinion here, I think on the stream, that Zelensky is not his own. He's not his own man. He is basically controlled and managed by Biden. That's what we say. Tom says, don't touch any settings. No echo here. Excellent, Ida. Thank you. So I think, Carl, try to fix, maybe it's your computer if you are getting echo. Tom says I'm not echoing. And so does Sarah. Thank you, everybody. So we have American domination is over. Putin is bringing new world order, says David Wiz. Well, talk about that. So let's talk about Putin, guys. I'm going to share my my screen with you. We all know that on February 21st, Mr. Putin, Russian president, delivered that big speech where everybody was expecting. Some people in Russia were wondering, what is he going to say? On the other hand, he didn't say anything that they expected. Some people in Russia thought maybe he will declare war on Ukraine. Maybe he will announce another mobilization, but he didn't. He did spend a lot of times going over history, going over Russia's economy, going over some politics of the West. He even brought the fact that I believe it's a Church of England, right, that recently came out and said that God should not have gender. I believe it's English church. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or Church of England. I'm not sure if there's a difference there, right? But they came out basically and said that we should not say our Father in reference to God, but we should say our parent. So I think Putin took a stab at that. And then he also talked about the West basically participating in the conflict while denying the participation. I'll play you a couple of videos here. And then he also, the biggest thing I believe from entire speech, he talked about, I think he talked about Nord Stream. I think he talked about tanks and all the good stuff and the biolabs. He talked about that too. And then the biggest thing was that he said that he would like to suspend the New START treaty, that nuclear inspections between United States and Russia. And then the next day he turned it over to the Russian, parliament. They have Duma to, I guess, put it in writing or make a document regarding that. So, and then he also spoke to the press about it, and he pretty much said that if the West thinks that they're going to behave towards us the way they do, and then we will let their inspectors run around our nuclear facilities, they are dreaming, something along the lines. And he actually, in his speech, called the notion of United States inspectors in Russia at this time in the conflict absurd. or like insane. So here's Mr. Putin, guys. Let me see.
И России, как они говорят, это прямая речь, стратегическая использует Украину и как таран против России, и как полигон.
He says that Western countries are using Ukraine as basically a mallet against Russia and also as a polygon. Polygon is where you do your military drills, right? The place of military drills.
Я не буду сейчас детально останавливаться на попытках
Like launching pad.
Запада переломить ход боевых действий, на их планах по наращиванию военных поставок. Всем и так это хорошо известно. Но одно обстоятельство должно быть понятно всем. Чем более дальнобойные западные системы будут поступать на Украину, тем дальше мы будем вынуждены отодвигать угрозу от наших границ.
Here's the key point what he said. He said, of course, the West is participating in supplying weapons while saying that they're not participating. But he said the bottom line is the longer range weapons the West will supply Ukraine, the further we will have to push back the threat away from our borders. And you could see the audience. There's some dignitaries who were attending Mr. Putin's speech on February 21st.
Это естественно.
You see they're all uploading.
Элиты Запада не скрывают своей цели – нанести России, как они говорят, это прямая речь, стратегическое поражение России.
He says the West is not hiding their goals. They declare that their goal is to defeat and to inflict the strategic defeat onto Russia.
Что это значит? Для нас что это такое? Это...
What is it? He is asking. What is it for us? What does it mean for us?
Значит, покончить с нами раз и навсегда.
To us, it means that they want to do us in, do away with us once and for all.
То есть они намерены перевести локальный конфликт в фазу глобального противостояния.
So they, meaning the West, are willing to export or widen the local conflict into the global confrontation.
Мы именно так и все это понимаем.
This is how we understand it, says Putin.
И соответствующим образом будем на это реагировать.
And we will take the measures as such, as it demands, such position demands.
Потому что в этом случае речь идет уже о существовании нашей страны.
Because in this instance, Putin says, the entire question now becomes of existence of our country, our survival, our existence.
Но они также не могут не отдавать себе отчет в том, что победить Россию на поле боя невозможно. Запад использует...
But he says, but they also have to remind themselves and understand that it's impossible to defeat Russia in the battlefield, on the battlefield. So that was Mr. Putin's speech, at least a portion of it, not all of it, just little snippets I have. Okay, whose comments are there? Type everybody where you're watching from, what time is over there, and also, do you trust Biden, Putin, or Zelensky? We have Alex saying, Putin's speech was well-reasoned. Let me see. He was countering the new narrative that the sanctions are hurting Russia, not US. Yes, he basically did speak a lot in his speech, saying that Russia is doing well. I think they did have a tiny economic, economy shrinking, I almost think by 2.5% instead of 20 as predicted, something along these lines. Yes, says Elena, Anglican Church, yes. Do we know for sure if Russian army started the huge attack? And what are the numbers regarding Ukrainian casualties? Max, I don't think Russian army has started the huge attack that everybody was anticipating. I think they're in defense mode. I know that some of the units are advancing. slowly. But those are mostly what they call Wagner Group, like a private contract or whatnot of the Russian armed forces. So I don't know if they're going to be doing the big offensive. I know that Zelensky is preparing big offensive. He is trying to see if he might get Transnistria or even Crimea. It's very possible. Got all my good comments saying that everybody can hear me well. Have you heard of black goo? It's a serum. You may have been exposed. I'm sorry to inform. We're talking about the Ohio chemical spill. Oh yeah, we have a lot of problems here in the United States. We had explosions, chemicals exploding, plants exploding, everything is burning. It's insanity. I don't know what Biden is thinking, but when we are exploding here in the state of Ohio and our people are suffering, Biden took a trip to Ukraine. He didn't go visit Americans who are probably having the biggest ecological disaster down there in the generations in Ohio. But no, Biden went to Ukraine and brought money to Ukraine instead of coming to Ohio, see what the situation is and see what the funds are needed and deal with it. But no, he went to Zelensky and brought him more money, just as usual. Alamin says Putin is trustworthy and his language is very, very clear, while Biden speaks to shape the narrative, just to continue fooling those who don't care much from West Africa. Thank you, Lamin from West Africa. Okay, guys. I'm trying to play everybody real quick. I have a lot of comments here. The Church of England, Anglican Church. Yeah, so I was right. Thank God. Yeah, we got it. Husky says, looks like Marie is from Czech Republic, right? Vesni vas zdravim. Večni vas zdravim. Something about, greetings, right? Greetings, and we're wishing you well. I hope so. I hope I read it correctly. William keeps, I think I'm going to put William on the timeout. William, you have to kind of cool off with your warnings about chemicals. I think we're cool here. We're fine. You got to do this. Jeanette said, oh, Biden, you mean Putin is the best president to have come since left. In most of the world today, people are so programmed. Ukraine are the most corrupt country that USA Obama started. Yeah, I had an interview with a Ukrainian man, and he basically did say he used to be a politician. He worked for one of the Ukrainian presidents, and he said that the downside is that America now complains that Ukraine is corrupt, but it was actually Americans who taught Ukrainians to be corrupt. So that's what he said. Next video I have to play for you guys. Next video. David says, mighty Russia, might Putin. I think I have more comments here. Biden is using Ukraine as testing grounds for weapons. Yes, we have to listen. Mr. Putin actually said something about that there were biolabs in Ukraine and things like that. And of course, we know that Victoria Nuland said they are not biolabs. They're biological research facilities. I mean, really, are we going to go into potato, tomato, tomato? Let's listen in what Mr. Putin also had to say about Russia's...
Смотрите, извините меня, священные писания, главные книги всех других мировых религий. Там все сказано.
He was talking about Russia's values, traditional values, and he was basically saying that the West is trying to promote their values and push them on Russia. But here's what he had to say about it.
В том числе то, что семья – это союз мужчины и женщины.
He said, look into the sacred books in, implying Bible and Quran and all the other, in Torah and other sacred books. He said, look at the sacred books. Everything is written down there. And it says that the marriage is between man and a woman.
Но и эти священные тексты подвергаются сейчас сомнению. Но вот
And he said, but even these sacred writings are now basically questioned by the West, by the Western mentality.
как стало известно, англиканская церковь, например, планирует, правда, пока только еще, рассмотреть идею гендерно-нейтрального Бога.
He's saying, as we know now, Anglican Church of England is looking into, and Mr. Putin says, thankfully only looking into, to create the concept of gender-neutral God, he said.
Что скажешь? Прости, Господи, не ведают, что творят.
He says, what can we say? He says, forgive them, God. They don't know what they're doing. Basically quoting Bible, I think, something along these lines.
Миллионы людей на Западе понимают, что их ведут к настоящей духовной катастрофе.
He says millions of people in the West understand that they have been led to basically spiritual catastrophe. They've been led.
Элиты, ну, прямо надо сказать, просто сходят с ума, и это, похоже, уже не лечится. Но это их проблемы, как я уже сказал, а мы обязаны защитить наших детей. И мы сделаем это, защитим.
He said they're basically losing their minds there in the West. But we have responsibility to protect our children, says Mr. Putin.
Наших детей от деградации и вырождения.
And we will protect our children from degradation and basically, I don't know, вырождение, non-existence. We will save our children from disappearing, from non-existence, when the children will not be born anymore. So we will save them from that. And from degradation as a society, he says.
Ну, посмотрите, извините меня, священные писания, главные книги всех других мировых религий.
Yep. So basically, Mr. Putin talked about the West's values being something that Russia doesn't want anything to do with, and that Russia will protect the children and the marriages between the woman and the man, and you know, the church and in the sacred spirituality that is part of Russian values. So yeah, he went with a big stick over the Western values here, and people applauded in the audience. You could see that. Okay, comments. Abdo, I have many friends from the United States of America and Europe, most of whom support Russia and do not agree with the policies of their countries. You see, well, anybody there trusts Biden? If you do, type it up. I will read it out loud. Tom Casey says, I wish my country was not poking the bear in China. Oh, yeah, let's talk about China. Isaac says, roads and bridges are falling apart. Yes, our infrastructure in the United States is falling apart. Play some comments. Candida says, Putin loved his country and his people. His speech was great. Why the USA don't speak about the corruption of Zelensky and his Nazis? Well, that's a good question, Candida, because the article the other day, I think, what is it? What newspaper was it I read? American one. Maybe it's Newsweek or one of those. I think they said that there is no evidence, says United States State Department, of any misuse of the money that goes to Ukraine. And there is no evidence of any theft of weapons or humanitarian aid. So really? So they obviously, you know, it takes one to see one, right? So in this case, they don't see each other because they obviously are all involved in whatever they have going on with Biden's laundromat of Europe, which he made Ukraine into. I have this comment. I keep playing the same comments here. Daniel, do I have your comment? I believe the weather in Ukraine is too warm for the offensive. Yeah, I think there is some other reason, and we're going to talk about it in a second. I just want to make sure I played everybody's comment. Max says Biden should be hospitalized immediately. He's not only a danger for himself, but for the entire humanity. Hospitalized and then locked away for good. Oh my gosh, yeah, Biden, I'm sure, will not like that. David wants to comment on Mr. Putin's speech. Marriage is for men and women, not James and Joan or bone to bone. All right, here we got some poets here. Good comment, David. Tom says, has anyone seen the speech Bush and Putin made together in USA in the early 2000s at separate podiums when Putin spent time at Bush's host? It's awesome. Well, I don't know about this speech. It's been years that I probably wouldn't remember it. But I do know that Bushes did visit Putin, and I think Prigozhin, the Wagner Group's now chief and I guess leader, is called Putin's chef because he was either catering that dinner or was around Putin and Bush at that dinner. So yeah, look it up, guys. There's something going on there. Mickey says, thank you from Spain. Hello there. Welcome, Nikki. And it's great to see you and love Spain. Is this you guys who recently did some very interesting laws out there, or was it France? Did you guys know? One of the European countries, I'm not sure which one, they're really attacking poor little animals. Google it up. You cannot make this up. Europe is getting insane entirely. So yeah, Mr. Putin, right. The West is going basically down the tubes. Not sure which country was that, but Google, they're basically promoting the legalizing animal abuse. So you can't make this stuff up. In one of European countries, Google, see which one is it. Ida says, I'm not proud of being of the same nationality as the NATO leader Stoltenberg. Oh yeah, okay, let's bring Stoltenberg then. If he would like to finally tell the truth, let me show you Ida. I think, guys, good segue. Here is Stoltenberg, right? I mean, is this him? I think it's him. If not, correct me, guys, because to me, they all look alike. I mean, after a while, they just repeating the same narratives, no personality, personalities of the cardboard, basically. You're looking at people who are just talking heads, cannot think for themselves, perpetuate narratives. But here's where he admits that the war actually did not start in 2022. That the war started in Ukraine in 2014. Listen into this. Confession time.
Didn't start in February last year.
Listen again.
Didn't start in February last year. The war started in 2014. And since 2014, NATO allies have provided support to Ukraine with training, with equipment. So the Ukrainian armed forces were much stronger in 2022 than they were in 2014. And of course, that made a huge difference when President Putin decided to attack Ukraine.
Did you hear that? It's all Putin's fault. Putin wasn't even anywhere near Ukraine in 2014 when the war started, and he admits it, right? Because the war didn't start in 2022. When did Russian army came in? 2022. So who was Ukraine fighting? Well, Ukraine was fighting its own citizens, its own people, killing civilians for almost 9 years and counting. They never stopped. They're still doing it. Only now those citizens voted to join Russia. And now the territory that Ukraine shelled for 8.5 to 9 years now became a territory of Russia. And Russia adopted it through its constitution. So yeah, good luck, Zelensky. He didn't want to fulfill Minsk agreements, but here is from what they call horse's mouth. You guys heard it. The war did not start in 2022. He said it. Who is here saying, who said Stoltenberg is Ukrainian? Bob Carpenter. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I know he's Norwegian, former prime minister, guys. I think he is. Yeah, that's Stoltenberg. Yes, thanks, Ida. Yeah, because like I said, in different lights, I see it's him, but you just never know. They, after a while, they blend in for sure. Some of the top Americans aides of Biden says, yes, lots of people have some very interesting, put it this way, family history. If you dig Tony Blinken and if you dig Victoria Nuland, dig deep enough and you'll find out that their ancestors came from that area. Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, Stoltenberg, says Nikki. Yeah, he is. I guess he just looks sometimes a little bit, I think maybe sometimes he wears glasses. That could be. By the way, I think the best disguise is wearing glasses. That's what I think I've heard people say. Okay, guys, next video. Former Italian PM is pushing against the lies. Well, you mean Berlusconi? What is his first name? Oh gosh, Mr. Berlusconi. Yeah, I think he said that he would not go and talk to Zelensky, even if Zelensky invited him. I think he said that he would not be. Oh yeah, Bob said it's Blinken who is Ukrainian. Yeah, he has some roots, but not Stoltenberg. Stoltenberg is Norwegian. So there we go, guys. Let's see. I have so many different videos here for you. Remember how I said that Mr. Putin decided to suspend New START treaty with United States? Let me see, maybe this video.
Они словно гордятся, упиваются своим.
Let's try this one.
США и НАТО ускоренно разворачивали у границ нашей страны свои армейские базы, секреты.
He's saying that United States and NATO have basically established their NATO bases near our borders.
Биолаборатории. В ходе
Biological laboratories.
маневров осваивали театр будущих военных действий. Готовили.
And they were conducting some drills to basically prepare for the future battlefield theater over there in Ukraine.
Подвластный им киевский режим, порабощенную ими Украину к большой войне.
And they were preparing the enslaved Ukraine, enslaved by them Ukraine, talking about United States and NATO, to the big war.
И сегодня признаются об этом. Они же признаются об этом публично, открыто.
And today they're openly boasting about it and confessing it.
Не стесняясь. Они словно гордятся, упиваются своим вероломством, называя и Минские соглашения, и нормандский формат дипломатическим спектаклем.
He says they're as if enjoying their own deceitfulness and their own basically gloating, calling Minsk agreements and Normandy format agreements a big spectacle and the show.
Блефом. Получается, что все то время,
And basically a myth.
когда пылал Донбасс, когда лилась кровь, когда Россия искренне, я хочу это подчеркнуть, именно искренне стремилась к мирному решению, они играли на жизни людей, играли, по сути, как говорят в известных кругах, крапленными картами.
He's saying that, and while the people in Donbass were dying all these years, you know, people of Donbass, the eastern Ukraine, the one that Ukraine shelled from 2014 and continues to this day. So he says, while people over there were dying, the United States and NATO basically were gloating and were happy to have their game of basically myth and show, which were Minsk agreement, those ceasefire agreements. But he said they were playing with the marked cards, meaning they were not honest. They were dishonest, and basically now they are confessing it, said Mr. Putin. Yeah, how is our comments doing here? Love Putin because he loves family and country, says Rogelio. Because with our family, there is no country. Good point. I like your comment. Say next comment. America will slowly start its armaments program like World War II. Yep. I have some more comments, If I don't play any of you, some of your comments, guys, try to be nice and answer each other's comments too, right? Newland, Blinken, Sullivan, Rice are just a few, says Kevin Kotel. Here's what Mr. Putin had to say about the suspension of the New START treaty, that disarmament/inspection agreement regarding particular nuclear weapons between United States and Russia, where they would have inspectors inspecting the mutual agreed type of weapons. And obviously in this speech of February 21, Mr. Putin said that he is going to suspend that, and then gave the Russian parliament authority to prepare it on paper, so to speak. And this is what he said about basically suspending these inspections with United States, not withdrawing, but suspending the talks about, because I think that agreement is up for renewal in 2026. I think it was renewed last time in 2021. So now, and there could be another one as well, but it sounds like Russia doesn't want American inspectors running around the nuclear facilities while they have all these hostilities. You see, I'm speaking in poems now.
Украину оружие стоимостью в десятки миллиардов.
Here's what he
Все
said.
ведущие страны НАТО объявили своей главной целью нанести нам стратегическое поражение, с тем, чтобы наш народ страдал, как они говорят. Как же?
All the NATO countries decided to declare basically that we need to be strategically defeated. We're the Russian Federation, says Mr. Putin, and they want our people to suffer.
Мы в этих условиях можем не учитывать их ядерные потенциалы.
How could we dismiss the fact that they're nuclear capable in this particular instance? Those basically our adversaries are nuclear capable.
Тем более, что они поставляют на Украину оружие стоимостью в десятки миллиардов долларов.
Especially as they're sending weapons in amounts of tens of billions of dollars to Ukraine.
Ведь это и есть участие в известном смысле.
And we consider it a participation in this scenario.
Почему? Потому что это не просто обычное военно-техническое сотрудничество.
Why? Because it's not just an ordinary military technical
Они же
cooperation.
деньги-то за это не получают.
Because they're not getting paid for it.
Не получают деньги. Это вот
They don't get money for that.
в одностороннем порядке эти вооружения передаются. А значит,
So they're sending these weapons in unilateral fashion.
это в известной степени, хотя бы косвенное, но все-таки соучастие в тех преступлениях, которые творит киевский режим.
Therefore, they even indirectly can be considered complicit in the crimes which Kiev regime now commits.
В том числе и обстреливая жилые кварталы Новороссии и Донецка.
Including those crimes of shelling civilian areas of Donbass and Novorossiya area, basically former Eastern Ukraine, now part of Russia, on paper and incorporated in 2022.
Ну а как же? Конечно, мы из этого и исходим. Этим и продиктована наша позиция. И, по-моему, она
And he says that this is what dictates our position, and I believe our position is quite understandable.
вполне объяснима, понятна и логична.
And our position is logical, and it's easy to explain our position.
Ну, кроме всего прочего, когда они вот делают то, что делают сегодня на Украине, я просто не могу себе представить, что американские военнослужащие будут шастать по нашим ядерным объектам.
And so he said, while they're doing what they're doing these days, basically participating, even though indirectly, in the conflict of Ukraine and being complicit in the crimes, what he said, of Kiev regime that bombs civilians in eastern Ukraine and Novorossiya and Donbass. So Putin said, I cannot imagine, with all that said, that American inspectors would be running around our nuclear facilities. So That's pretty much why he explained why he decided that they don't want to have that New START treaty at this point and suspended that. Mickey says, share to the world. America is corrupt. I stand with, sounds like Russia, says Mickey. Now we have some more comments. We're paying for the blackmail of Joe's dirty deals, along with the kids of Pelosi, Romney, Kerry, and others. Yeah, Kevin, those guys definitely had business dealings in Ukraine. And of course, Hunter Biden had them with China as well. Yeah, there is, you'd be excellent as a bodyguard for Putin or carrying his nuclear briefcase. Who are you talking to? Bob Carpenter. I think you want to say to Kevin Cottle, right, Kevin? David West, don't get me wrong, Putin is no angel, but he's trying to stop the New World Order. Excellent, excellent. And so says Kevin, we're paying for the blackmail. Yep, I already got that. Did I get Tom Casey? Here is scenario. Putin is waiting until China is ready to do a mirror military attack at once, one in Ukraine and one in Taiwan. Haha, now what, NATO? Yeah, let's talk about China.
报道二战结束以来，美国是不
Loud. He's Chinese foreign minister, and you guys can read the subtitles of basically what they said a couple of days ago before they proposed their peace plan. They basically said that America is becoming a destructive force on the world peace, and how many countries were destroyed and how many countries were attacked. And that was just before China came up with that peace plan, 12 points peace plan. Let me read it.
美国是最大的战争制造者。美国建国240多年的历史当中。
He's basically saying what's really worrying is the destructive influence of United States on world peace and stability. America is the largest producer of war. United States has not had wars in only 16 years of its 240 years of history.
只有16年没有打过仗。二战结束以来，世界上发生的武装冲突当中，有美。
United States has initiated about 80% of armed conflicts in the world since the end of World War II. United States violates the sovereignty of other countries.
发起的占到约80%。美国也是侵犯别国主权、干涉别国内政最多的国家。
Yeah, so we know what China thinks about us now. Good to know, China. But did you guys, everybody seen that Chinese proposal, 12-point peace plan? What do you guys think? I know Tom wrote what he thinks about China and Russia cooperating and then getting together and attacking. But David Wiz says the BRIC have to come together. Attack on one BRIC member is attack on all. That's a good point. Yeah, they can do the NATO style, right? Daniel, what do you say? I stand by Putin. He needs to put a stop to the American government and their corruption. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yep. I think that Biden would not like it too much, right? Okay, Bob, you're Barbie. What? I'm a Barbie, Bob Comfort? Do you need to be in the corner? I should have a naughty corner. I know Tom Casey likes to be naughty, and he likes to ask me to say something like, something, your time is to die, Mr. Bond, or something with an English accent. He likes to be naughty like that. So, okay, guys, nobody's getting naughty. Another video real quick. Remember how everybody's asking about Russia's offensive in Bakhmut? Just wanted to show you guys. The problem is I cannot show you any body parts. I can only show you coffins and ruins, because anything else like body parts, dead soldiers, dead civilians, blood, you cannot show it, neither on Facebook, no on YouTube. Therefore, people don't care about how many people die because they don't see what I see. I see dead corpses on Telegram channels where people post from the front lines. And our media doesn't show it to us. So everybody gets this sanitized version of the war with a little bit of a ABC News reporters running around there, and that's it. No, war is terrible. War is heartbreaking. There are dead bodies laying in the fields of Ukraine. And you guys, if you don't have Telegram, get on Telegram and you will see some videos. They will not show you in either YouTube or Facebook because it's not allowed. They will say, oh, it's a graphic violence. Yeah, they're making sure we cannot talk about this war in real time, what it looks like, how horrific that is, how horrible that is. And if somebody does, oh, they get banned, oh, they get flagged, oh, you can't do it. We will never stop any of this nightmare if we cannot speak truth about it, if we cannot share how horrific it is. But here's the best I can do on these platforms, guys, to show you the destruction of Bakhmut. Somebody took a small little video. Watch this. Do you see that? The scene of Armageddon? Play for you one more time. Yep, that was Bakhmut, the scene of Armageddon. I watched some videos from Ukrainian guys who are sitting in the trenches, and they have little videos, and they say that, do you guys want to hear what the hell sound like? And they have all these different variety of sounds of all these artillery pieces flying over their heads from Russian side. Yeah, the war is bloody. The war is terrible. The human life loss in civilians and the army guys is insane. Ukraine is drafting the people, grabbing them on the street, sending draft notices to legally blind. If you're a man, you cannot go to grocery store, they will grab you. And if you are, within the parameters of the age group, they will grab you and send you to the front lines. Zelensky will do that. Yeah, it's something else, guys. Let me see. I was going to show you a very interesting video here, you guys. Anybody still watching from Germany? Tom Casey says war has smells. Yeah, that's very surprising too, Tom. If you hear how people describe, even some journalists, citizen journalists, they say when they walk down the streets and if there was a bombing in civilian area of Donbass area by Ukraine, and at one point there were 6 people, the bodies were laying down, and I think it was at Patrick Lancaster, I think, American citizen journalist, he said, I cannot, or somebody else said that I cannot even tell you, there's a smell of death and there is a smell of burning flesh here. Yeah, they don't tell us all of that on TV. We get Biden and Zelensky hugging and kissing, and Duda hugging with Zelensky, and Macron lovey-dovey with Zelensky. That's not the war, guys. The war is ugly, it's horrific, it's painful. There are corpses, there is blood, there are broken limbs, there are bodies torn apart in the streets, laying in Ukraine, in the Russian side of the eastern Ukraine, and now is becoming a part of Russia, in Donbass. There's women, children, and that's been going on for the last 9 years. And Biden, don't get me started, I would, says David, watching from Germany. Yes, if Germans are watching, here for you guys, watch this. This is pretty cool video. I was quite very glad to see that myself, because it looks like German people are actually standing up. What is happening here, my understanding that in Berlin, in front of Russian embassy, my understanding that Ukrainian activists, to the beginning of this Russian phase of the war of February 24th, 2022, on February 24th, placed this tank right in front of Russian embassy in Germany, in Berlin. And supposedly the tank is a beat up Russian tank or something like that. And they placed these Ukrainian banners on top to basically humiliate Russia and mark the anniversary, quote unquote, of beginning of Russian special military operation with a bang, and put this tank in front of Russian embassy in Berlin and put Ukrainian flags on it, say, here we are, we won, you lost, something along these lines. This is like a political action in front of Russian embassy, right? And you see that what happened was unexpected. The German people started to bring flowers and covered this supposedly Russian tank that Ukrainians brought to show that Russia will be defeated. The German people brought flowers and covered this tank with roses. Watch this. Did you see that? And so what happened later was, I wonder if it's the same video or a different one. Maybe it's a different. And I had another video, but maybe I didn't add it to my stream here. But basically, the German man was talking about, he said that Ukrainian activists were trying to basically create this spectacle to, poke at Russia. But we German people happened to have 2,000 roses, and we brought them to this tank and covered it with gratefulness, because we don't want to have war, and we're grateful to Russian people for saving us from, the World War II, right? The regime of those nationalists at the time in Germany. So in the end, after people started to bring roses, somebody actually climbed and basically removed Ukrainian flags from atop of Russian tank in front of Russian embassy in Berlin, Germany. Yeah, so German people, they actually fighting back against Zelensky's regime. I know there have been lots of demonstrations in different countries in Europe, basically saying that Zelensky, enough weapons, enough money. Let's do some peace. Forget you, Zelensky. But German people actually brought flowers to the Russian tank. That's very amazing of German people. Do you think there will be any kind of Russian offensive in 2023 at all? Good question. So far, from what I see, Chinese peace plan, right, guys? Type in if you have read, and what do you think about Chinese peace plan, 12-point Chinese plan that China proposed? I think that Russia right now, put it this way, may be constrained by China, and maybe it has always been constrained by China, because obviously China is, I don't want to say an ally, but at least did not publicly condemn Russia like all the other good American friends did, right? And European little puppet governments did. But China definitely has interest in Ukraine, China has interests with United States, and China is a very long ancient history nation. So they don't do anything fast. They take their time. My thought that it's China who is pushing for grain deal, and a part of a grain deal will be freeing the port of city of Nikolaev into the peace corridor type situation. So Turkey wants this grain deal. Now China wants this grain deal. They will add more cities around Black Sea area, around Crimea area, to the Black Sea peace corridor, so the ships could go forth and back, the commercial ships under this grain deal. It does not look like it would be helpful for Russia to do any kind of offensive if Russia will keep adding more cities and more peace corridors in these areas where we all thought they may be starting their offensives from. Another problem that's brewing is Transnistria. We know that there is this little sliver of land between Moldova and Ukraine, and Zelensky now tried to stir up the pot over there by saying, oh, Russia wants to do the coup, and they want to change the government in Moldova. Well, what's there to change? Moldova is basically American puppet, Biden's puppet. We pay millions and billions, I'm sure, over the years of dollars to Moldova. And the Moldova's president is a Romanian citizen, Maia Sandu. So, and recently Moldova changed another top government official. And his name is Dorin something, from the lady who used to be in that position. And his first order of business was to say, Moldova, I think we need to seize our neutrality status. So they're going to try to push for NATO. And basically Zelensky now comes out and says, oh, Russia is going to want to change regime in Moldova. We have to intervene. We have to save Moldova. Well, Russia says they declined that they would even think of interfering into Moldova's internal affairs. But nonetheless, Zelensky brought, I think people said about 10,000 troops. So there could be, don't quote me on the number, but there could be some significant Ukrainian troops that are accumulating near city of Odessa, close to the border with Moldova and Transnistria, basically, in that area. Why is this significant? Because Transnistria, under UN Charter Agreement, when Transnistria declared itself basically autonomous years ago in the 90s, there was a big war there too. There are Russian peacekeeper troops there. Some people say there is 1,000 troops, 1,100, 1,900. Some say 4,000 troops of Russian peacekeepers. So Zelensky might want to, and there is a huge weapons depot in the village of Kolbasna. That village apparently houses, I think Russell Bentley told me in the latest interview, we had about 40,000 tons of weapons. I don't know, but it's something very huge, guys. They have, after World War II, apparently a lot of munitions were stored there in Transnistria area. So question is, Zelensky want to get into Transnistria with help of Moldova to once and for all get rid of the Russian peacekeepers troops there, because he might think that if he goes for Crimea, those troops can always strike him in the back? Or does he want to go for Transnistria to just get all those weapons that are in that Kolbasna village, in that depot? Who knows? But with Russia being basically hesitant to do what they call red line responses, it's very unclear whether Russia is going to start any kind of offensive, or are they just going to sort of see if the peace talks and maybe mediation with China will have some, some potentially positives. But I think the who is more likely to begin offensive is probably, I'm thinking, Zelensky. either on Transnistria or on Crimea or both. And I don't know if Russia is prepared for that. It has been very quiet from Russian Ministry of Defense. They have not divulged their plans. So everyone's guess is good as mine. All of a sudden, we have China wanting to be a mediator, proposing peace talks, and has a 12-point plan, which one of the points of this plan actually says that China wants every country to consider other countries' sovereignty and the borders, and that to be basically untouchable, and it has to be, sacred. And so question is China trying to say that Russia, under this 12 points plan, need to remove their troops out of the newly, what they call, liberated areas of Ukrainian territory? I mean, what exactly does it mean, China? And Russia sort of said, oh, we kind of sort of think our Chinese partners in providing this opening segue to potential peace talks. But then Russia said, Minister of Defense Shoigu came out at the same time and said that Russia will not stop until all the goals of the military operation, as stated by Mr. Putin earlier in the beginning, are accomplished. And then, of course, the West came out and said that, well, Chinese plan is not really acceptable, because China also demanded in their peace plan that the economy should not be weaponized, that the sanctions would not be used, and volunteer sanctions would not be invoked against other countries. Only UN sanctions should work, but not like what EU people did. The EU countries, they just voluntarily started to do sanctions, and sanctions, according to China, have become a weapon. And that creates the commotion in the market. And China says this destabilizes the world. And there was a lot of points. And of course, China called for immediate ceasefire in that peace plan. And China called for the world to participate in rebuilding all the territories. But that one interesting point about everybody respecting each other's borders and sovereignty, I heard Ukrainians are taking it as if China hints to Russia that Russia needs to remove the troops from occupied Ukrainian areas, including Crimea. So that's how Ukrainians are seeing some of their top personalities, like Alexei Arestovich, if you guys know who I mean, right? So yeah, it's a very interesting question. I don't know about 2023. I'm sure things are changing every day. Russia might do the offensive in 2023. But on the other hand, when and whether there will be some successful a peaceful resolution now that China is at play, who knows? I would think eventually, if this keeps going on for another year, at some point Russia will start going and taking initiative. But at this point, I think it's more likely that Zelensky will do some type of offensive on either Transnistria or Crimea or both. We'll see what happens. And then again, if there will be some type of peaceful resolution, and if China gets somebody's ear, so far China did not get Zelensky's ear. He sort of dismissed China's proposal, even though he called their proposal just a food for consideration, really nothing important. But I think he may be meeting with Chairman Xi in the coming weeks. And I think Macron is going to meet with Chairman Xi. I don't know. We'll see, guys, what happens. But good question, DKCB. Like I said, my point, I'm thinking Zelensky is likelier to start offensive at this point than Russia. I don't see Russia preparing for one. But for entire year, yeah, they could be doing an offensive. But for the near future, I don't see it. So don't quote me on that. I'm just talking about near future. If it's a year 2023, yeah, they could go on offensive, but I almost think that there may be some type of a peace ceasefire type deal again that could be worked up, just based on how the chessboard pieces are, and now that China showed up to the table, and everybody is dependent in some way, shape, or form on China. So they can't really ignore what China wants. And so maybe the fact that China tries to assert themselves and push everybody towards the ceasefire and peace talks, who knows, it might work. But I don't know, guys. Your guess is good as mine. Here we go. Tom Casey says they're going to bankrupt the USA with weather balloons. We have to spend $500,000 to shoot each one down. Exactly. Did you guys see the article? Did we spend $1.5 million to shoot some of these balloons that Biden was telling us it could be even extraterrestrial, because nobody could answer what are they? Unidentified balloons. And then I think one of those Chicago amateur airplane creator guys came out and said, well, one of those objects probably was ours. It cost us $20 or $200 or something like that. Yeah, we send expensive fighter jets to shoot balloons. That's what we do here. Yeah, our people sleep on the streets, but we send billions to Ukraine and shoot balloons with the expensive hundreds of thousands of dollars dollar missiles and rockets or whatever, and our fighter jets do that. Never will Russia give up Crimea, never. Here is the danger, Tom. You're right. Russia said before that it has a lot of these red lines, and one of these red lines surely is Crimea. But so far, Russia has been pushing their red lines further and further and further. First they said, oh, if you hit this, we're going to do this. Nothing. Then they said, if you touch Crimean bridge, well, Ukrainians, together with somebody else who we don't know, but we can guess, right, created this explosion on Crimea's bridge. At least what Russian Federation Minister of Defense said, that there were Ukrainians and there were some other countries that were involved according to their data. So the Crimean bridge was damaged on Putin's birthday. They did that explosion. And what did Russia do? I mean, nothing major. So who knows? Russia keeps saying that Crimea, if you attack Crimea, it's a red line. Medvedev said, we're going to. Well, I don't know, guys. They so far haven't done anything. They kept saying, we will not exchange Azov Nazis. This will never happen. And then they exchanged them in the prisoner swap. I don't know. I think somebody needs to call Putin and said, what are you guys doing? I mean, are you really getting serious about things? Or are you just going to keep pushing those red lines until one day we're boom in a nuclear war? Yay! I mean, everybody's guess is good as mine. I hope the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson will not fly again to Kiev, says Lemon, to hijack the Chinese peace plan. Yeah, remember how Boris Johnson hijacked the plan that Ukraine and Russia were working on last April in Turkey, or Turkey? I guess that's a newer name that Turkish president evoked that they want to be called. Yeah, they definitely were working on a peace plan, and Russia withdrew troops from around Kiev as a part of that proposal that they seem to have been ironing out with Ukraine. And the next day, it was no go. Boris Johnson was actually bragging a few months ago, that he is the one who stalled all those negotiations. So, yeah, it's insane, guys. If a ceasefire is reached, how wide do you think the demilitarized zone will have to be? Well, let's do some straight talk here, guys. Yes, of course, I cannot tell you everything, I think, right? Because then Biden might listen. We wouldn't want him to know what I think. But what I want to say flat out, I think if, with all my hope that there will be a peace, and hopefully soon, but here's the problem. I don't think Russia trusts the West in any type, shape, or form to deliver on any new peace proposals. Remember Minsk agreements? Remember the speech I just played for you? Mr. Putin said that the West actually is bragging and talking about how they fooled Russia. So, and Russia said that they really have no trust as to any type of written peace deals with the West anymore. So question is, if they're going to reach ceasefire, and let's say maybe the ceasefire will say, okay, Russia controls this part of Ukraine, or Ukraine controls this part of, I mean, let's say Poland may come in and peacekeepers may control that part of Ukraine, or Romania or Hungarians or somebody comes in and everybody takes under their wing and controls a certain part, and let's say, right, ceasefire. Well, look back. Let's look at the record. In 2015, there was a ceasefire signed. Who abided by ceasefire? The side of the Eastern Donbass, what they call the side that was fighting sort of in pro-Russian area. But Ukraine never stopped. Ukraine never abided by ceasefire. And of course, Angela Merkel, Germany, and France, they were basically the parties that they were supposed to guarantee that the ceasefire gets enforced by Ukraine. They are now coming out saying, "Oh, this was just a sham to buy Ukraine more time." So, question: if there is going to be another ceasefire, is it going to be another sham to buy Ukraine more time, and then Ukraine strikes again? And then they really go for Crimea, or then they really go for Moscow. You just never know. In other words, the ceasefire sounds like a possibility, but it also sounds like the invitation for another sham, to sham Russia into something that nobody again would want to fulfill, only buy more time to strike Russia again, because the end goal is Russia. It was never about Ukraine. And of course, China is there right behind Russia. And some analysts say that hopefully China understands that if Russia goes, China goes, and like China is next. And look at China, Taiwan. But as far as where the line goes, some people think maybe it will be a Korean-style scenario. Even Ukrainians are fiddling with that idea, thinking, well, Russia may want to separate us by Dnieper River. So we will have this side and they will have the other side, sort of like a North Korea, South Korea, divided by, what is it, 36 parallel or, coordinates, right? And with that said, I don't think there is Russian people who would like that, but we never know what politicians like. So politicians may say, we'll do it. I don't know. The article the other day, I think it was New York Times, said that Russian strategy has changed in Ukraine. Russia no longer wants to take territory. Russia just wants to drain Ukraine. Well, the problem is Russia really never wanted to take territory. Russia refused to recognize independence of Donbass republics who were begging Russia to do it for the last 9 years, or like 8.5 at the time. And only almost on the 9th year, when they convinced Russia that Ukraine is preparing the offensive, then Russia recognized them as independent, and later through referendum incorporated them into Russia. If Russia wanted territory, they would have recognized and took these guys back years ago. But the problem is Russia never wanted to. It looks like Russia came with a limited amount of troops, 200,000, not enough to overpower a country with 40 million people. Not enough to take Kiev, a multi-million inhabitant city. Russia came with some troops, what it looked to me like to say, hey guys, we're serious. Let's sit down and let's make sure that you follow Minsk agreements. Or if we need some new agreements, like make some new ones, but we're serious. Here's our troops, but let's talk peace. Let's sign something and we'll abide by that. In other words, forcing Zelensky into abiding by ceasefire agreements, which he didn't. And the president before him didn't either, who actually was the party to those agreements when they were created in 2015. But Russia seemed, willing to negotiate from the day one when they came into Ukraine. And Zelensky looked like went with Russian representatives and Ukrainian representatives meeting in Turkey and doing some type of negotiating, and then they agreed on a few things. And then Boris Johnson got involved. It's all broken apart. So now they're saying that, oh, Russia couldn't take territory. Well, Russia didn't want to, but if you force Russia, it will take its people and its territory with it. So, yeah. As far as demarcation lines, like I said, some people think it's going to be a Dnieper River, if there was, in fact, something like that. But I don't know. I personally don't see it that way. I don't think there will be, there is a possibility that if they work some type of ceasefire, that different countries will volunteer to sort of be peacekeepers in different areas. That's a possibility. But as far as Russia dividing Ukraine, I think the problem is if Russia divides Ukraine, Russia is still within how many kilometers or miles reach of HIMARS? Like Putin said, the longer range missiles Ukraine will have, the further we will have to push the threat from our border. I don't think that Dnieper River will be far enough from Russian border if Biden is going to keep supplying long range missiles to Ukraine. So Russia may have to keep going if the West going to keep supplying long range missiles to Ukraine. And the longer range missile, the further away from Russian border Russia will have to go. And more of Ukrainian demarcation lines may end up, I don't know, it may not be even Ukraine in the end of it. But so far, Zelensky is very positive. He's already wants to go take Crimea. So we'll see. Oh, guys, I'm talking so much. You have so many comments here, and I can't play all of them. I wouldn't line the birdcage with the New York Times. Yeah, exactly. They're doing all these great predictions what Russia is doing. I was going to say, did Putin call you himself? Is that what you know? Because you know how all the Western countries said that Russia wanted to take Kiev in 3 days. Russia never said it wanted to take Kiev on top of it in 3 days. But every Western puppet and parrot, every journalist, on both sides, Ukrainian side and Western side, EU side, repeats that same narrative as if Putin wanted to take Kiev in 3 days or Ukraine in 2 weeks. Nothing like that was ever said by Putin. I would like for them to do some research, right, and listen to Mr. Putin's speeches. Yes, says Carolyn, the states have broken every agreement with Russia, just like they did with Native Americans. Well, that's what Putin was saying. He says they're lying to us and they're bragging about it. So question, if there is going to be another ceasefire, how long will it last? Or will the war might stop for a while just to begin later, again, when Ukraine builds more strength, or when they will figure out some more ways to build up Ukraine, like they did with Minsk agreements. A lot of variables, guys. But I think, what is it? Zelensky is going to meet with Chairman Xi too. I don't know. So it looks like everybody's going to go now and kind of see what China wants. Who knows? Maybe China will get their way a little bit, because China doesn't want to upset Biden and openly support Russia, because China knows it's going to get sanctioned by Biden immediately. And of course, China wouldn't want that. But China doesn't want to break relations with Russia by totally not supporting Russia. So China is trying to sit on all chairs like they usually do. You know, the ancient nation, they know how to not get involved so they could stay alive, right? They last for thousands of years, Chinese do. So we'll see if they will be a viable player that may bring us to some type of ceasefire. But if there is a ceasefire, my feeling, my take on it is that it's not going to last long. It may even last for a year or two, but eventually there will be another war if this happens. And the West will not stop until they either want their regime change, or they will, destroy Putin, remove Putin, partition Russia, spread it into particles. And the nicer Russia is, the bolder the West gets. So if the West keeps being this emboldened West that keeps exploding the pipelines, the Nord Stream, and blowing up the gas infrastructure of our allies, right? Biden, which we think we know. I mean, he may not have come out and confirmed it, but very many sources point to Biden involvement of Nord Stream 2 and 1 explosions and sabotage and destruction. So if that's what we do and get bolder and bolder, and nobody's there to spank Biden, so to speak, and put us back in line, we will be in a nuclear war with Russia before we even know it. That's for sure. I have a comment. Why does a tourist have to do a sea test to visit Russia? To be honest with you, don't know. I do not know anything about that. When is Russia going to speak truth about C-19? Belarus has been honest from day one. Well, you have to give it to Lukashenko, the Belarus president, that he did say that they are not going to close Belarus. They didn't stop any businesses. And they've dealt with it quite differently than all the Western countries, and even differently than Russia. They were not scared. They did what they had to do, but they did not stop their businesses from operating. I think that Belarus president said that. Carl says China has Biden by the nuts. They have too much on him and his corruption. You're right, Carl. I remember the dealings with Hunter Biden was at $1 or $2 billion with China. That there was Babulinski, I think Tony Babulinski, former Hunter Biden's associate, was talking about. And of course, nobody would listen to Tony Babulinski because obviously nobody wants to look into Hunter Biden's dealings with China or in Ukraine either. So, yeah. What does the DK says? Is there a chance that Ukrainian government will try to invade the West if the weapons flow stops? Invade the West, you mean where? Invade us or invade Europe? I think that Ukrainian, I think Arestovich was actually, he did say that a Ukrainian army was feared in Europe because Europe was training Ukrainian army to fight Russia, basically. And so was Canada, and so was United States. But at some point, they wanted to make sure that Ukrainian army does not turn on them, because if Ukrainian army does turn on Europe, then what? Yeah, you just never know. Okay, guys, I have talked for such a long time, and I miss you all, and I love you all. I should go because there are so many comments that I cannot even get to. Russia will roll right up to the Polish border, says Gary. Yep. Let me see what says Tom. Poof, it's all over. Yeah, talk about nuclear war. That's what we're probably going to get. Helsinki Finn says, Elena, do you think Germany will break off NATO because of Nord Stream 2? That would be the end of NATO and EU. Good question. I think that Germany doesn't have any guts. I'm sorry to say that. The people of Germany do. I see that they protest in the streets. But the government of Germany does not listen to them. Remember Annalena Baerbock? She said, oh, we don't care. We will still help Ukraine. Even if our own voters and the people of Germany don't approve it, we'll still do it. So German people have guts, but German politicians, I think, are sold out, and they sold out to Biden or whoever else that they're puppets to, or whoever their masters. They will not likely to have guts to withdraw from NATO, because remember, as soon as Scholz started saying that, oh, maybe we shouldn't be as vigorously helping Ukraine, that's when Nord Stream got blown up. As soon as Scholz says, oh, maybe we shouldn't just quite do that much for Ukraine, then something hits Germany. So, yeah, they got them by the throat. The NATO has a lot of problems between themselves. We know the two NATO members, Turkey and Greece, they have disputes. Some others do within the NATO countries. I think if NATO will break up, it would be likely because of Germany, because Germany got attacked by its allies. But will Germany have guts to stand up and break away the chains that bind it to the allies who betray it? I don't see it just yet. Maybe if the government changes, maybe if there will be some people who actually have Germany's interests in mind instead of Joe Biden's interests in mind, that would come to Germany's government. For right now, if NATO breaks up, I'm thinking, remember recently, I think Hungarian President Orban, he came out and he said that he may not like that these two countries are going to want to join NATO, that he may hold something back. I don't know. I'm more inclined to think if there is a troublemaker, that is either Orban or Erdogan, other than Germany. At least they were not as been acting as pushovers. And Erdogan a couple of times came out and said a few things, but of course now he's dealing with the earthquake disaster and humanitarian catastrophe there. And they even talked about maybe they won't have any elections because of it, which I think he has elections coming up. But Orban, I think, was the other outspoken guy in Europe and in NATO, who may be a catalyst for some changes in NATO. But so far, Germany and German government, not so much. Too much of a puppets. Too much of vassal, eager to please Biden. Puppets. But maybe new people will come, or maybe people of Germany will be able to do something and vote them out. I don't know. Guys, long talk. Everybody here with me, say hello and say till the next time, right? I will speak with you next time. Let me see. Ines says Greeks and Cypriots support Russia, but the EU has them by their throats. Exactly, Ines. That's very true. Gary says Germany is a vassal state, as all of the Western European countries are the bunch of cocks. I don't know. What the heck does that supposed to mean? Do I have to Google that? But I figured that the basically the vassal state, and they're not really independent and sovereign. Yeah, because if your allies attack you and you do nothing, Putin now is asking UN to investigate Nord Stream 2 sabotage and Nord Stream 1 after Seymour Hersh revelations. I think Sweden had conducted the investigation, but they said, oh, we know who did it, but we can't tell. Like, what? Oh, we will have investigation, but Russia cannot be a party to investigation. And it's all Russia's fault. Like, what? These people are insane. And then we have Biden saying, oh, there will not be any Nord Stream 2 if Russia enters Ukraine. Then we have Newland saying, I am so happy that Nord Stream is finally a pile of rubble on the bottom of the sea. And all of them in blinking, oh, Nord Stream 2 sabotage is such a great opportunity. All these people going praising it up, the destruction of the infrastructure of Germany, and German officials don't ask any questions at all. Yeah, I feel for German people, but hey, they probably feel for us too, because we're probably the same in the same boat. Okay, guys. Says Carl, good talking with you. Did I miss somebody? Elena, we need you in our US Congress. Yes, David, I agree. We need me and more people like me, people who actually are for America and for Americans and not for Biden and corrupt cronies. And the people who actually care that our own people sleep on the streets and our own veterans are homeless while we're shelling billions unaccounted for to Ukraine, the country we don't even have a border with, and our own border being invaded. That's insane. But that's like my question is like, where are Republicans? Where are you people? I mean, yeah, we kind of know where the Democrats are on all of this. Biden, Obama, Newland, with the Pelosi's and some of the sellout Republicans. But where's the majority of Republicans? Why are you elected to the office if you're sitting there and writing blank checks to Ukraine on Biden's whims? Don't get me started. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Oh, another comment. Ines US and GB has all you by their throats. I got this one. We have Teresa saying hello. Hello, Teresa. Tom says Israel attack for the United States in 1952, stuck our ship, kills 300 sailors. We did nothing. Well, it's an interesting point. I've never heard of it, Tom. You got me. I didn't hear about that. Ines says they're afraid of the biggest donors, the military-industrial complex. Yeah, I recently heard, I think former President Trump said something about the military-industrial complex and all these people. Let me see, I'm getting my lights because it's getting dark. I have a sunset I'm looking at over the lake, but it's getting so dark here for me to read. But yeah, President Trump said that all these neocons and all these globalists and all these warmongers and all these Newlands and company, they have to go. I mean, like, yeah, I'd like to see them go, but like, how do I get in? Like, really, people like me, people who really care about our country and accountability to our taxpayers. We don't have a lot of those people in there, that's for sure. Somebody says, Tom Casey says, Elena for president 2024. I would, but I wasn't born in the United States, so I can't do no none. But of course, Obama did it, right? We still have questions about Obama's birth certificate. I mean, don't get me started on that one. I know Trump had questions about it. But of course, we cannot talk about it. Oh, that would be a conspiracy. No, I would like to know where is the Obama's birth certificate? Trump tried to get it, but never did. Tom says, haha. Yeah. Okay, guys. What a mess, says Yvette. Yeah, it's a mess. Our country is a mess. Biden is a mess. But we definitely are not blinded by his lies, and that's hopeful already, and that's encouraging. So everybody who is still with me, I know it's been a long time. I just can talk to you guys for hours. I had more videos to show you, but maybe the next time we'll break it up in a couple of streams. So, okay, guys. Here says, George says, I voted for you in the primary, Elena, against Fred Upton. Yes, thank you, George. Thank you for your vote. And thank you for your confidence. You have no idea how many people, everywhere I go, in the grocery stores, everywhere, people I've never seen before. They come to me and they say, we voted for you. I voted for you. People called me. People came, picked up my signs. It was overwhelming. And then there was election night. And I saw some very strange things happening with the numbers. I still did great. My numbers were excellent. They were amazing. But I'm sure there was something wrong with the way it was going, because I suddenly started to see the numbers. I've started with higher numbers, with like 42.5%. when the polls closed, and then all of a sudden the number dropped in the middle of the night. There were more votes coming in, and not a single vote came to me. They were all going to Upton. I'm like, what is going on? I couldn't understand what was happening. It was not like anything I've ever seen before. Of course, I never ran before, but it was bizarre. And more questions than answers of what really happened. And then when Trump came out and he said something during his general election in November, that he saw that Michigan had all these ballots had been dumped overnight, and he doesn't get any single vote goes to him. They all go to Biden. He was asking questions about that. I was watching it. I was like, oh, so now you see asking the same questions of what I saw in August. Yeah, it was very surprising. But I'm glad that so many people supported me, and I am grateful to each one of you. So many called on the phone. So many had my signs. Some of the cities I ran around and wanted to deliver my signs, but my signs were already there. People called every day requesting more signs. And in some of the cities, when you drive through the cities, you would think I was born and raised there. My signs were on the left side of the road, on the right side of the road. There was like corridors, where's my name everywhere. People are amazing. Americans, you're amazing. I love you. I love every one of my voters and supporters. If I only could do the great job for you, you know I would. If I had to die doing it, I would do it, because that's how much I believe it. Okay, guys, don't believe in it. Don't get me teared up, because my heart is with America, is with American people. It hurts me to see how our country has been handled. We deserve better. Our people deserve better. Sorry, guys. Okay, now I'm crying on camera here now. No, but it's true. It's the truth. That's how much I care about United States of America, the land of the free. And I want our people to be free. I want our people to live in dignity. I don't want our people and our veterans to be living on the streets and sleeping on the cardboards. This is not America. And our corrupt politicians obviously seem to be okay with that. And I know I'm not. I know that if it's up to me, and if I would be able to give a voice to Americans, I'm sure you would all support what I would have to say, because my priority is our people and our country, and not corrupt schemes of Hunter Biden and company and Pelosi, and not running around the world and become a policeman of the world, changing regimes, and then rob our taxpayers to pay for their little schemes. That's not what I stand for. So I stand for us, for our country, for our people. And for all of you guys watching across the world, because the better we are as Americans in our country, the happier the world would be, the healthier the world relationships between the countries would be. And we could live all happily ever after, right? Instead of worried about nuclear war with Russia or somebody else. Who knows, North Korea, China. So, yeah. Big heart to everyone who is watching. Big heart to everybody who is typing. Again, we have wonderful comments here. I have a comment from Smith Mike. We love you, Elena. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. Goes right back, and my heart goes back right to you. Thank you, guys. And ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, no matter what your pronoun is, I love you. And thank you for your love as well. Thank you. Says Mr. Emerson, it's nice to see you live for a change. Well, hello. You can go into my YouTube channel, Elena USA Live. There are tons of lives. They're past lives, but they're lives. So Everybody, by the way, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you, Sarah. We love you, Elena. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, how can I leave the stream? How can I go if you all say such beautiful, wonderful words? Thank you so much. And I love you back. And thank you. Thank you for being with me, guys. Thank you for your love. I can feel it, actually. Thank you. Closing with 007 music, movie music. I don't have 007 music, Tom Casey. Your great and compassionate leader, says Carolyn Logan. It hurts me that our country puts a native-born rat at the helm and blocks foreign-born sincere leader from becoming president. Agree with you, Carolyn. Definitely not equal opportunity. Definitely not equal opportunity. I have actually... I have thought of something when I received my American passport. It was a very interesting experience for me because I thought that, well, here I will become American, right? Well, interestingly enough, my American passport would say the country of birth, and it would say Ukraine. And so when you travel, when you especially go back to Ukraine, the Ukraine customs, they like to pick on you if you are not like a purebred American, right? If they can see if you are born in Ukraine, so they will try to squeeze something out of you or make it a little more difficult to see if you will, do something like bribe them or whatever. They're ridiculous things. So they basically hit on people. And I thought, well, now that I have American passport, if I go back to Ukraine, they will be treating me nicely and with dignity, not trying to accost me, right? But no. But when I looked at my passport and I saw it, I was like, oh, that's weird. You would think if you're American, why do they have to say the country of birth, the distance, the other thing? In other words, yeah, there is American who is born in America and there is American who is not born in America. And apparently there is a difference. And I don't think it's right. I think once you're American, once you make a commitment, you should be treated as an American the same way as the one who was born in this country, because you put the time and you put your due diligence and you paid the price to become American citizen. So why would you be treated differently? Why would you have your passport stating the country of birth to sort of be this distinguishing factor that basically makes a difference between a real born in America and American and the one who is immigrant. So yeah, I'm sure there are reasons that founding fathers felt that there should be a reason like that it has to be a person who is born in America to be a president. Fine, I'm not looking to become American president. But what I do think that this was very strange to have a passport that would actually state my country of birth. I didn't think that would be necessary. Once you're American, you're American. But no, it's not so simple. So yeah, the stories I can tell, guys. Okay, love you all. Don't make me cry here. Otherwise, everybody's going to say I'm such a cry baby. Give you big hugs. Yeah, it really hurts. And it hurts in a very deep way for me to see America being destroyed in front of my eyes. And I, at this point, cannot do anything to help and save it, other than to speak some truth to you guys on streams like that. So hopefully, maybe we will overcome eventually, right? One of these days. And I just want to say thank you for everyone. And thank you, everybody who put little hearts here for me. Thank you very much. And who put little hugs here too. And Inessa said, the best from New Jersey. Thank you very much. I like it. I love it. And thank you again for the very, very, very kind words. Appreciate it. Guys, we'll see you later. If anybody wants to subscribe to my YouTube channel to be notified when I go live next, Sometimes it's spontaneous, depends when I have time. Sometimes I pre-schedule it, but if you subscribe, click the bell, you will be notified no matter where you're at when I go live. And watch the videos. Somebody was asking about Russell, Texas Bentley. We did make a video together the other day, and it's posted on the YouTube channel. If you want to go watch it, go ahead. It's interesting. We had some interesting discussions beside Ukraine war there that were unexpected. And Russell even played the guitar in a couple of his songs. So yeah, that was quite an experience for me. Well, guys, just want to say thank you. Just want to give you all the big hugs. I better go and do something, right? But being with you guys is very important. Spread the truth, share the truth with your friends. I share the links to my videos on Facebook, on YouTube with your friends. Invite them to like my pages. Invite them to share my videos, information. Like Julian Assange said, if the lies can start the wars, the truth can stop this wars. So if we keep speaking the truth and teach others the truth, maybe American society and our friends and our neighbors will wake up one day and realize that politicians sold us out. And they're lying to us, they have been lying to us, and they're robbing us blind. So unless we realize that that's what they're doing, we cannot change anything and do anything about it. So the good stuff, you guys, thanks for being with me, and share the truth with others. Hopefully we can do it together. Thank you.